Yesterday I was speaking to a few people, the day before yesterday I was speaking to a few people, and one of them said, roadies. Roadies. Oh, so you are dealing with people that are repairing roads. And I thought, hey, we feel we know who we are. We feel, we think everyone knows who we are and what we're doing, but no, that's not like it is. And we should be telling people what we're doing, but then we should be knowing ourselves what we're doing. That's maybe it's part of the road I want to walk with you and explain a little bit about what we do internationally, because I really feel we do the same. And a lot of you think, hey, South Africa is different. Of course, you are different than all kinds of sorts, but you are really part of the event industry in the world, where we as people in that industry are working together and love to work together. And what are we doing? And why are we doing things? And how do we do things? I can still say I don't know. And when I started in this business, I didn't know. And often, I still don't know. And that's the nice thing, maybe. Most of you who are in this business are really aware of what they are doing. They're aware of the circumstances. But if you ask, what are we really doing? Why do we do those things? Can you tell me the way it's being organized? Yes, we do it like this. Do you do it the same the next day? No, of course not, because the next day is different. But can you say you are organized in a way? Can you tell me what way it is? And can you tell me how you will behave next day, next month, last year? How are we making steps on this road? And often we tell each other, and we really are not that good at that, we're not speaking together enough. Hey, my way is different than yours. And then I say, hey, let's talk about what we're doing. You're doing this, you're doing that. In this country, in this very room, you're doing the same as in our country, and in a lot of other countries, even better sometimes. I want to look into a variety of subjects, looking where we were, where we are, and where we're going. Talk about the gear we put down, a very special thing we have to deal with is the people that are doing it, and then how that world is looking on us and says, hey, roadies, oh, you're on the road. Yes, we are on the road. We're on the road every day. We create an event, we go to that specific place, specific venue, we build our gear, we are there with our people, and we take it back again, just the same evening or the next day, and we go on the road. And we like that, and that's because why we're roadies, we roll on and roll on. And it was called rock and roll when we started. It was rolling every day, and now we're really somewhere every day with our events. If we look into the techniques we got, I know Professor already said digital. Digital is a magic word. Things are happening digital, yes. Especially a lot of invisible things are happening digitally. And well, is it helping us? Most of you are not aware which is happening around you. What's happening in the air? Everything, you all carry your own video system with you now. It's called a telephone. You all get your recording studio. It's called a telephone. And you all feel you are able to be a video technician. You are able to be a sound technician because you talk to a microphone every day. You say hello, 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 and the speaker setup is there. Each of you feels, maybe they don't feel like that, but feels like you might be a technician because your sound, video, it's everywhere now. But the guys dealing with it, the guys and girls dealing with it in the real way, and they know there is an extra thing to do. And we have to be aware of the development in that part. The digital means the cable is not that big anymore. Okay, so what? Maybe we can add more channels in one system. Yes, we do. Most of you don't care. Most of our audience don't care. But if we don't care as an industry, our industry is really getting endangered because all those developments, you think, going into the air, while the telecom industry is really big in that, we should be aware of those developments, and people have to learn about it, have to educate about it. If you need power is something, every building needs power, but a few years ago, this room would be really heated by the lamps we used. Everyone would really be sweating because those systems could not cope with the gear we were bringing in, because all those lamps were really hot and they used a lot of power. Power consumption is not good if you don't need to, and now we have changed. These lamps have more light but less power. So we're saving on energy, which is very good. And all developments are really helping. But that's not South African, that's not European, that's the world. Because, well, I can say it's China. Yesterday I mentioned somewhere and say, all the stuff we buy is coming from China, and I really, well, I feel you are aware too, that most of the stuff, if you read where it's coming from, it's countries like that. And they don't produce for just one country, no, it's worldwide development on techniques. And you can say then they will decide what we're going to do. So innovation is being controlled from Asia. Well, part of it maybe is, but I do know that all of you are speaking every day how you perform and what you need to perform and what gear you need for that. And all that gear is being made because you want it and you want it to do certain things. So if you're talking as a business together, talking as an industry together, you have certain demands, and the guys developing things and putting on that innovation will do it because it's logic and there is need for it because there must be a market. Otherwise it won't work. More important than gears, the people. But then, maybe we talk a lot about the technicians, but basically we're working for the audience. I feel very proud to organize a good event, if that event is organized in a proper way. And I can see the audience is really happy, because that's what we're doing. They are paying in the end, they are paying. Maybe by taxes, maybe by buying a ticket, but in the end our audience is really the thing. We're working for that. I'm good enough to make everything safe and good for the audience. An artist wants to perform, and the technician wants to perform too, make light and sound good. The production people, they need to perform well, because also the exits must be okay. It must be safe, it must be secure, and you must be having good food, and the toilets must be okay. There's a lot of things to think about, and the audience will only be okay to return to your event if you've thought about a lot of things. So the people we have to have in the business have to take care of all those needs the audience has. How many people you need for that? In my country, we're really dealing with the problem that we don't know about ourselves. We don't know about the right numbers of people that we need in our business. The people that are necessary to do certain things. Everyone knows for a show, I need 10 people, 12 people. What do we need as an industry? How big should it be? How many people do we need? And I see that's growing. I feel our industry needs more people. I hope for you that's the same. It's not going bad. And I think the industry is really growing because we see events as such. I think professors said culture is everywhere. We feel events are everywhere and being used for a lot of purposes. If we don't bring the right people to that, if we don't have enough people for that, there will be a problem because the audience needs good people. In the end we have to have a great way of saying, hey, we are good. We're good at what we are. Can you say, if you grab someone and say, hey, you're going to be part of my industry, what are you going to do? How are we going to learn you certain things? How are we going to teach you? And that's why we're great in reinventing what we're doing. We're a young industry. Most older industries, they have books and they have learning programs and they go, oh God. And we got only this. And we're proud of that. But if you have this, you should be adding that and that and that. In my country, in your country, and in Germany, and in Australia and the USA, they're all reinventing our business because no one did it before. And that's great because we talk about relevant standards and codes of conduct. Yeah. What standards? Which code of conduct? And the nice thing about these meetings, and the meetings we got internationally, we talk about the codes of conduct we should adapt to, follow. Adopt, adapt, improve, someone said. And we talk about those standards and we see what is good and what's not good. And if it's not good, maybe it's not only because in South Africa it's not good, but also in other countries it's not good. So we can improve on things together, go to the next country. If I hire people, if I want people, some people must take care of it. And of course some education comes out of good heart, it comes out of government, but it should also come out of the idea that an employer says I need good employees. So if you are a good employee, well, what do you want? Brody is really a good way to start. But some of you, some of the guys and girls in classes really can do more, want to do more, and in the end, in your life and in your early life you can grow. But then again, and that's what we're talking about with the classes, it's not only about because there is work you just do No, it's also about, it's great people doing great business in a great industry, and you have to bring a certain amount of enthusiasm. Last night, only at 6 o'clock last afternoon, this venue was totally empty. So yesterday at 6, there was a large group of Sarah people, Sarah students, being here together with the great companies that are helping us. And together, we were building this, and in the end, at only 12:30, we were ready with the basic things. That's our business, it's people working in the evening, working in the night, still smiling, because yes, you are tired, of course. Yeah? But yes, you go on. And the employer likes that, the employee really likes the same. If we talk about things we have to do then together, let's talk together. Yeah? We're still sitting together, but not everything in our business is okay. We know everywhere things go wrong, and you're quite aware of it. Everyone who looks Facebook says incident there, incident there. There was a bad weather situation. In my country, we really have a lot of wind, we got snow, we got things well, being smacked down, pushed down. Things go wrong, but most things go very well, so we should be proud of things that we are doing good. We should learn from things that are not good. And if we look into the budget as a decision maker on that, no, it's logic, it's sense, it's education, making the decision what is good and what's not good. Because in the end, if we don't make the right show, well, the show must go on all the time, but if we say we're stupid and the budget says we must reduce this and that, if that's not safe, it's not good, then we shouldn't go there. So I feel for proper event industry, we're talking together, we set certain standards, and we know we're going to adhere to that and say, hey, we like to work, and we like to work in a proper way. How to do so is, well, it's easy to say we start working together, but last year, after many years, I returned here and I felt so many things being said were really, hey, we're doing the same. Or we have the same problem, we have the same ideas. And that's logic, because that's the state of mind our industry has, the people in our industry have. And maybe we're all following the same road. Maybe sometimes there's a car in front of you and you want to I'll pass you. And other times there is a big thing, you say, hey, I'll just carry on and I will follow you. Together, some of us are really driving very fast, but most of us are really driving the same pace. And if you stop for 5 minutes at the petrol station, you know, if you just take some rest, then again, you know you're on the road and that other car has passed you. But then again, sometimes you say, hey, he's in front of me, and now I must do the same. Sometimes you say, hey, no, I'm doing this and this. We're all the time doing the same things and working together on reaching the same goal on that same road. I do feel, and I sometimes say, hey, what's happening? Try to realize and talk about a lot of knowledge which is there, and a lot of users of that knowledge, which are in the end. But what we are really not good at sometimes is we don't define who we are bringing the knowledge to, who's the user, and that we should bring knowledge to those people. Because sometimes we create tools, and we create tools without looking into the fact of what are we going to bring to as part of knowledge to the audience that needs that, the audience or the users or otherwise. And if you don't define knowledge, you can never have good users, and then they're stupid. But if you don't define tools to bring it to tools like education or apps or your cell phone telling you certain things what to do, if you don't do that, the user won't know anything about knowledge. So we have to think about that all the time, that if we create knowledge somewhere, we also have to think about how we bring it to the right people that can use that knowledge in a proper way. I promise you something about the outside world, because I feel like, well, like people saying, hey, you're working on the road. Yes. So you're repairing the company. Yeah. No. There were many people, like my parents, who didn't understand what I was doing. And yesterday another one said, hey, we asked the DJ yesterday, where we was not the presenting person from Alex event, we were sitting there, and we asked him, hey, what do your parents feel about what you were going to do? And he honestly said, well, they didn't know. But when I told about what we're doing, when they listened to me, and when they knew I was really doing something where a lot of people said, hey, you're doing a good thing, in the end they appreciated it and they started to learn. And most parents don't know what we're doing. No, my parents, sometimes I feel very proud because they see a little movie like this. Hey, you're Willem, were you standing on a stage in Africa? Wow. then I feel you must be doing something right. But then again, we are totally invisible as an industry. We are totally invisible as persons working backstage. And we really, and you see it around, all those people wearing black because you don't see them. It's wearing black shirts, wearing black trousers, and well, for me I just said, hey, light will only work if you get some reflection. So sometimes even the roadie should be wearing something that gives some reflections, because they must be proud of what they're doing. There is a lot we can see with this good development, and people are learning about things, but most people learning about us learn about because there has been some accident. And why was this thing structure not okay, and why did the sound beep while I was walking? And the sound was not good. And the lights were down and on. Yeah, okay, thank you. There's more, but that's our big secret, and we keep it hidden too often, because we feel backstage work is backstage work, and if the artist is shining and the audience is right, maybe we're happy. We should do more about that. I started meeting Sarah in 1998 already, and that's Professor Oliphant was talking about history, and I know in '94 was really, it was only 3 years before I learned to know about Sarah people, and you are following a road, we are following a road, we are basically, as an industry, we are following a road, and I really see, last Monday and Tuesday I was teaching classes in Sarah premises, Sarah house, and that's a class with youngsters, starting this year. Half of them are women, girls, half of them are boys, shiny eyes, everywhere has energy, and I feel they don't know about the past, they know about these days, and these days things are changing in a nice way, in a good way, but there is a lot of knowledge we still can teach them because we have written it down, there are no teachers. And the great thing about Sarah is that also the system says, hey, if you're here the first year, you will be here the next year, but then you're a teacher too. And the third year, and a lot of the guys and girls are here now, they are teachers to the others. And I feel that's a great thing to do with the energy of the people, share the knowledge. But then we really need to share our knowledge too, with the people here. If you don't talk to the organizer, and you just say, hey, I'm a supplier, if you don't feel the scheme is proper, if you don't feel the health and safety conditions are proper, if you don't talk to each other about improvement, then we are not good enough. And we have to talk to anyone. And especially in Holland too, we were not being seen by any government. And when I talk to governmental people, I have 6 ministries, because someone says, I'm the legal one, and I'm the logistic one, and I'm the cultural one, and I'm the health ones, and they're all different, and they really don't know about it. So it's great that you are developing certain councils and say, hey, we understand the business and we try to follow your steps on that road. I think we have a great time. We had a great time, but there was a lot of inventing what we were doing. And you can say people meeting each other, well, the Romans did and the Egyptians did, but basically as you talk about music industry, where a lot of us started, it's only about the late 60s that it started. And all those youngsters in the class, they say, hey, that's far away, that's history, but realize, please, with me, that we are only 50 years, 60 years on this road, and that we have to, well, follow it, but then that we'll see there is a bright future in it, because I feel we have a great history already, but with the people in it now, and the thoughts of meeting each other together, there's a good road ahead of us. Thank you.